Okay, we're rolling.
Give me a second here. Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. We'll go. All right, guys. Welcome back to the Eyes on Leafs podcast. We haven't done one here in a bit, so sorry for the layoff. Yeah, it's been a while. I think our last recording is probably, a month old now?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find the date right now, but it's been a
Yeah,
long
it's
time.
been a while. It's been a while. So, all right. There's a lot to talk about. We just coming off. Oh, Finland just scored to make it 2-1 against Sweden.
Oh, nice.
World Juniors are on. I have it on semis. So,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, they.
Yeah, it's Finland, Sweden, and U.S. versus Czech are later today. I think at 7:30.
Oh,
So.
right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
Our last episode was November 22nd. By the way.
Jeez,
Oh,
that's
so
not
it's
great.
been like almost 2 months.
So we're not going to be
Close.
able to touch
Month and a bit.
on everything today, because it's been 2 months and we don't have 4 hours to sit here and talk. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like recent Leaf stuff that we're gonna touch on. Then we're gonna get into some Leaf talk. I didn't really make a goalie corner for today. There's not
There's been
too
so
much.
much
going on.
goalie stuff.
Like what? What have we missed? There hasn't been that much. Like
No,
we
I
had
swear
the
there's
Stolarz
been a
injury.
bunch.
We had we recorded one episode since the last one, and it didn't get aired. And I don't remember if we did a goalie corner or not.
was that the one? That was the virtual one where there were problems with the video freezing up, right?
I think there's a different one. I think we did one in person.
No,
and we
wait.
just never
We
got
did
the
one
audio
in
up.
person. I never uploaded it.
You never.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking, did I forget to edit or something? No, not my fault. Seb.
Nah. All right. We're good.
Okay, let's get into the context.
Let's
Content
yeah.
of
Let's
the
start
show.
getting into the actual show here.
my
So
He's so upset.
I was like waiting. I was like, I didn't know if there was something wrong with the audio that I just had no idea about, or we just didn't upload it. But
Oh no, we never talk
upload
about
it.
the show outside of the group chat, so you would know everything that happens.
it's a good
Oh
point.
my god.
It's all right. Okay. I hope everyone had a good holidays. That being said,
Excellent.
we're gonna let's get into Leafs talk. So first thing I want to talk about
You
is
know what would have made the holidays even better? If there was an episode for all of our 8 million fans to watch.
I know.
we're massive. Okay, bro. All right. Whatever. Let's get into
what
Leafs
else is
talk.
massive?
Enough.
No taper fade.
All right, Austin Matthews staying back into the lineup tonight against Boston. It's his first game since December 20th in the win against Buffalo. We think it's a back injury. I don't know if they've said that publicly, but he took a cross check to the back against Buffalo, and it looked like that's what aggravated it. I
forget, are they calling it-
since
Are they calling it upper body or lower body?
upper body? I believe was the actually. I don't even know. I don't even think they ever. I don't remember
They
seeing
have
a
not
tweet.
said anything publicly on
No,
it
it's
about
been-
what
Yeah,
it
I was
is.
gonna say I wasn't sure.
I just.
and
I
he's,
was
he's
kind
playing
of-
tomorrow too.
Yeah, he said he's planning on going back-to-back days, so we'll see how that goes. I think it's a tough matchup to come back against Boston. I think obviously physical team. They're gonna try and make his life a little bit difficult there, but I think you need to get him back eventually, and it's the regular season, and you can't. I don't think you want to act like you're scared of him getting hurt again, especially when you're going up against a divisional rival. Like I don't know how you. I wouldn't want to make it look like it's that bad, and they've done everything in their power to make it look like it's nothing. But I mean, he's been out.
Obviously,
since before the
there's
break.
something concerning, and then he just
Yeah.
drops that comment in that
Right, yeah.
interview about like how he might not be able to get over it this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, this-
I mean, that's concerning.
Yeah, that I don't really know. Like they're really not letting on anything about this, but he flies to Germany. He's there for 2 weeks to see a doctor. He says, yeah, this might not be solved by the end of the season. Like, should he be playing 2
I just wanna
back-to-back
bring up-
games this weekend?
Oh, well, I was gonna bring up the Four Nations.
That's another
At the end
thing.
of the
Yeah.
day, at the end of the day, it's his decision. Obviously, I mean, I know representing your country is a big deal for these guys, and they haven't had the chance to really do it since the World Juniors. But I mean, like, man, you
At the end of
haven't
the
played this season. and like you haven't won anything in Toronto. Like, I mean, I'd appreciate if he decided to take, like, you're the first year as a captain of the team. I'd appreciate if they kind of held him, or if he like was like, you know what,
Yeah.
didn't put the Leafs ahead of a four
Say,
team
I
tournament.
feel
Like,
like
I
the
don't know.
team. I feel like the team that's paying you $13.25 million is kind of more important than like a random rinky-dink, like, Four Nation tournament that doesn't even
Absolutely.
include like one of the top hockey nations on the planet.
Absolutely.
Russia.
And
So-
like Matteo, you said it's his decision. I don't necessarily know that it is. Like, I'm sure the Leafs probably have a say in that. This is an NHL tournament. You know what I mean? Like,
I just don't think it would look very good on him. I think if this injury thing is a concern and he decides to go to that Four Nations tournament, I just don't think it's a very good look on him to the team.
I don't think so either, especially when it's your first year as a captain. At the end of the day, injuries are injuries. You can't do too much about it. But you haven't played a lot of the year, and when you
That's what I'm
played,
saying,
I don't think he's looked that good. I gotta be honest. I mean, listen, it's for his standards. I think he's looked good in comparison to everyone else, but he hasn't looked Austin Matthews level, and you need that in the playoffs. And if you're gonna go to play more games when you haven't played for the regular season because you're not healthy, I don't know how great
And
that is for the team.
I think him not playing to his standard this season is because of this nagging like back injury.
100%. 100%. We've seen what he looks like when he's healthy. He scores 69 goals in the regular season.
He,
Like,
like-
unstoppable.
Yeah.
Takes over the game.
I think if he was healthy this year, I'd look at this a lot differently and be like, yeah, of course, go play in the
Yeah.
Four Nations. But
Yeah.
like, you have not been
100%.
healthy. You have not been healthy this season. You've had like multiple weeks off in multiple stints. There's clearly something going on. You went to Germany this season. You've already
Yeah.
said to the media that you don't even know if you'll get over it this year. I maybe it's better to just skip it, but
Well, that's what I'm
honestly,
saying. Yeah.
if he doesn't play another game for the rest of the regular season and he's okay for game 1 of the playoffs, I don't care, because this Leafs team has looked good enough without him and will make the playoffs without him. And just look how close they were. Well, through after game 4, look how close they were against Boston last year. If you have Austin Matthews for all 7 games, maybe that series doesn't even get to 7 games.
Or William Nylander.
Or William Nylander.
yeah.
It's like, yeah,
I
we're
don't
going to need Matthews come playoff time.
I don't know. We'll see. There's only so much you can say, but I think I agree with Sub there that if he was healthy, like, obviously go to the Four Nations. I think it only helps you. If he was healthy, it only helps. You have to play a high level competition. You get to get into, maybe you learn something at elimination tournament with guys that you haven't played with before and how to win, right? Like, maybe that helps the team. But I mean, he's not healthy. He hasn't looked healthy. There's this one goal against Dallas where he was on the back check and it looked like he was toasting, but I don't even know if he was toasting because he was moving his feet. I just think he can't get up to that top gear like he used to. Or like we saw him last season. I think it's just the injury. I just don't think he could play at the level he's usually playing at.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, I think we can move on here. Do you guys want to talk about Philippe Myers' extension or Jonathan Taves first? Which one do you want to talk about?
Philippe
Myers?
Myers, because there's really not much to say there. Let's get that out of
What
the
do you
way.
mean? We're gonna
Yeah,
spend like
I mean,
20 minutes
listen,
on Philippe Myers, dude.
We're gonna spend 20 minutes on it, but there's still not much there.
Yeah, so the deal is 2 years, $850K per year. Listen, I think it's a fine deal. I think good organizational depth. It's kind of whatever. He's played with Mo. Like, I went to the year thinking, okay, they finally got a partner for Mo. Nope, Tanev is not
It's
playing with
actually
Mo.
Philippe Myers.
It is
They
Philippe
did.
Myers. And listen, they've won their minutes on ice. Their stats have been pretty solid. I can't really complain about that pairing. And
He hasn't looked
I think there's complaints about Mo's play overall this year, but like at the end of the day, he shows up the most out of anyone on this team in the playoffs. So I'm just kind of holding my breath and hoping that the same thing happens. So
Yeah, whatever.
Anything
Like,
to say about Philippe Myers?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where he was when he was drafted, because I feel like he was a higher up draft.
I think
He was
he
a highly
was undrafted.
He was highly wasn't he highly touted? I thought he was highly touted going
He was
to the league.
undrafted.
Philippe Myers. Was he
He was
actually?
undrafted? Okay,
Undrafted.
I know he was with the Flyers for a long time, but you know what?
He was.
He's I guess he's younger. I think he's on the right side of 30. Yeah, he's the same
Yeah,
age
he's
as Matthews,
27.
97.
He's 27.
Yeah, so he's a younger player. Maybe there's something left in there that has been untapped. I don't know. I think if the Leafs clearly believe in him to give him 2 more years, and at league minute that like this is do
He
it.
did play in the 2017 World Junior team. Did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, he showed really good promise in Philly.
He did.
He was very good there.
Nashville too, wasn't he decent in Oh, his stats were
Not
okay.
really.
Nashville.
I think he was
Nashville iffy.
He was traded for Ryan McDonough, wasn't he? Or with Ryan
And Ryan
McDonough?
Ellis.
Oh my god, that Ryan Ellis deal. Oh
Yeah,
my
he was in
god,
both of those trades.
that's crazy.
Nolan Patrick.
Yeah. He actually he's played for the Marlies before.
Yeah, because he was on loan.
Philly
Wasn't he
Marlies.
alone?
He was in Nashville, and he was playing in the AHL, and they traded his AHL rights to the Marlies for like a season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that. They must have had eyes on him in the organization for a while. But yeah, it's. I mean, he scored 16 points with the Flyers one season. Like that's as a defenseman, that's not nothing. He shoots
Listen,
right.
they gave him nothing. Like the 850K is like,
Yeah,
what
it's
you're not going to do much with that. It is what it
if
is,
you
right?
if you can get NHL games out of this guy for the next 2 seasons,
That's pretty
Sure.
good.
Even if you don't, like AHL depth, whatever, not a big deal.
Yeah, he's
okay.
He's a very serviceable guy, I think.
Yep. He's been fine. I think Berube was saying that he likes him. He was saying that, I saw a quote where he's like, yeah, he makes a simple play with the puck, pretty physical, big body. So, I mean, they like what he brings to the team. So, with that being said, I think we can move on. I don't think there's much more we need to say about Philippe Myers. Is
No.
it? No? We did?
let's move
Said
on
we
before
did,
we
or-
get too carried away
So,
here.
I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
All right. I want to talk about this to be quick because there wasn't really much substance to this report, but Jonathan Toews is trying to make a comeback. He's 36, hasn't played since the 2022-2023 season, I think it was. And it's Frank Saravalli saying that the Leafs are one of the teams that are at least like looking at it just to see. Listen. To be honest with you, if they bring him in on a entry level, what am I talking about? On like a lead min deal where he's playing 4th line center and just giving him a look, like I don't really care. But if this is what Tree Living thinks is going to solve the scoring problem, no. Like I need something else. I don't think that's what it's going to be. But
The reports are saying that this is like, could this be the Leafs' new 3rd line center? And if
No,
they
it's
go with
not.
this, it's like the equivalent of
it's
Pontus
not.
Holmberg being the solution at 3.
Yeah,
like
like-
is Jonathan Toews at, like you said, Matteo, at 4C. Yeah, I'll take that just as another guy to cycle in there. So you have Camp, Toews,
Even though,
and
like-
what's his nuts, Stewart, Holmberg too. That's a good cycle for your
Even-
4th line.
Even at 4C though, like this guy hasn't played in 2 years.
well, yeah, that's
just
what I
been,
was
like-
saying.
Dude, he's been hanging out with like monks for 2 years. Like, what it is? Like, no, literally, he's been just like hanging out with monks for like 2
listen,
years.
If they don't see
5
him
weeks, by the
skate,
way.
if they don't see him skate and he works out fine and you sign him to a deal, I'm not saying you have to start him in the playoffs. I'm just saying if you sign him and like you just give him a couple of run games and he's like in and out of the lineup whenever you need to fill a roster
I
spot.
just don't think they need like another 4th line guy. Like they need, if they're gonna get anything, they need something a little better than that. Like they need something for
Yeah.
their 3rd line. I don't.
Oh,
think-
no, I totally
I
agree.
don't think Jonathan Toews
yeah.
is what you need.
No,
This isn't the
Weird.
solution.
Like I don't think it's. I just think it's kind of useless. You're just adding an extra body on the 4th line that you don't really need.
see
I
your
just
point.
think he brings experience of winning. Just like obviously that dynasty in Chicago,
Yes,
that was a long
yeah,
time ago,
but
but you still have that. If he's just a good defensive player, then cheaper option for David Kampf. I'm still on the trade Kampf train. Like I don't think you need him there taking up that much salary cap
I
space.
just like even Taves in his last couple of years though he fell off defensively.
Yeah, he did.
He
He
gave
did.
up on the defensive side of the puck in his last
Yeah.
couple of years. Like I just don't.
To be fair, those Chicago teams the last Chicago teams he played on weren't good. Like those guys
They
were
weren't good,
awful.
but if
They
you
were
look at it like relative, like everyone on those teams had bad defensive metrics. But if you look at someone like David Kampf on those teams, David Kampf had really good defensive metrics relative to the rest of his team. Jonathan Taves did not. Like
Yeah,
he
that's
was
true.
just kind of gave up on it.
It was just kind of him and Kane just like doing, and I mean, DeBrincat was there too, but they were just kind of doing whatever from what I
Yeah,
remember. I don't
like,
think they. Duncan Keith was still no. Actually, did he get traded before that his last year there?
No, I don't think
He was traded to
Yeah, no,
Edmonton.
yeah, he went to Edmonton in like 2021.
Yeah, he was traded. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting because I saw he was. I thought it was more interesting that he's trying to make a comeback. I with the Leafs,
Yeah,
it's
I
like
thought
if,
he was cooked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
you just never hear from him. I thought it was gonna be like a Bufflin type of thing where like he just kind of leaves the league and you never hear about him again.
I
And then like
mean,
once a month I see a picture of Bufflin fishing and it's like cool. Like I don't know.
Game
it might be
But
that.
who
I mean,
knows?
if he doesn't sign a contract before the trade deadline, we probably don't see him in the NHL ever
Well,
again.
It might be
Yeah.
like another Phil Kessel situation where it's like they're looking for a contract the whole year and then it's just nothing really comes of it.
I was so surprised by that Kessel thing. I thought someone at the
Yeah,
the lower end of the league was gonna give him a deal and just let him play.
Yeah.
You know.
He's
I
8 points from
I s-
1,000.
I know he's 8 points per
I know.
1,000. I still
That
wish
sucks,
someone would
that
do it.
sucks,
It's
man.
not happening.
I
Though.
low-key wanted him
No.
last year just to like complete the. No, now he's done. There's no way.
Now he's playing poker, bro. Like I see him on my Twitter, like typing up poker. I'm like, all right.
What a nice way for him to end his career.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we could move on. I want obviously we haven't touched on the World Juniors yet, and Cowan's a part of that. But I want to save Cowan talk for like a full World Junior thing.
Sure.
So we'll hold off on that. I just want to talk about I wanted to stay a little bit more positive and talk about the recent play for the Leafs because, I mean, it's been outstanding. You're missing your best player on the team, your captain, and at the time we're recording this, they're tied on points with Florida. They have a game at hand, and by points percentage, they're first in the Atlantic. And they're coming off a 2-1 win against the Islanders. And listen, they're not. I'm like, there's no line here. They're not as fun to watch as they have been. But I'm at the point where I just don't care. Like, just win hockey games, please. And they've been doing that. They've been great.
Yeah,
You know what's
the
fun to
best-
watch is being good in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if it's boring now, I don't care.
They just.
Well, they're playing playoff
they-
hockey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The good thing about them right now is that they're finding ways to win every game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every game they're finding just a way to win, and that's probably the most important thing because not every game is going to be perfect. You're going to have your shit games. You're going to have your shit games in the playoffs. But if you can find a way to squeak it out, that's how they won the Tampa series. Tampa
Yeah.
outplayed the Leafs like crazy, but the
Then they
Leafs
took
just
There was
away
no
Vasilevsky's
chance
eyes.
they should have won that year. There
Like,
was no
the
chance they should have won that series. I thought they played
But
better
the-
in the series that they lost against Tampa.
Yeah, but
They
they found a way to
scored
hold
garbage
on.
goals.
Yeah.
And they screened the hell out of Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky didn't see a single puck in in that series, and they score goals.
Yeah.
It went in
Yeah.
when the goalie couldn't see the puck. Go fucking figure. Like
2-1 Finland. The other goal got disallowed and just scored again. So 2-1
Wow.
Finland. Just World Junior update. Yeah. Listen, I was writing an article today, and I was doing a little bit of research on their offensive stats because I know the offensive metrics haven't been that good. And I think they're like 18th in the league in expected goals for, and last year they finished, I think, at 6 in the lead for that, from what I can remember. And I was, I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty easy to understand why not. You don't have your best player on the team who's a forward,
they're
who's also like
just
a
not-
close-in.
They're not playing the same way they did last year.
I was just about to say that. I was about to say, Keefe runs a more rush style offense, which is more conducive to taking more risks, more possession of the puck in transition. And with those risks over time, you're going to collect more expected. I don't even know if it'd be points or whatever, but your expected goals are going to look better because you're getting in more high danger areas because you're taking more risks. But with
Yeah,
that
point.
comes
goal
allowing
shares
more
are gonna look
turnovers
better.
in transition. Yeah, your defensive numbers aren't going to look as good. And Berube has transferred them into a style of more dump and chase, checking, get that puck out of the corner, get it to the point, shots on net. So that type of stuff, right?
Dude, it is so nice watching a team that dumps and chase, but actually chases.
Yeah, chases.
yeah,
we had
I've
dump
been
and
saying
chase.
that's one thing I've been yelling at my TV for years. Is it's a dump,
dump and chase,
and a
but don't
chase.
chase.
Finish
Yeah.
your check in the corner. You're not getting a penalty for it. It only helps you.
Yes.
Finish your check.
Yeah, unless it's the World Juniors. That's
Well,
when you
We'll
get
talk
penalties for
about
finishing your
that. We'll
checks.
talk about that.
I'll save my opinion on that for later.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've one thing that they say on the broadcasts a lot. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed this, is that they are willing to give the puck away and fight to get it back, which is
Yeah.
like all a dumping chase is you give the other team the puck, but then you go and you get it back, and then you are in the offensive zone. You park yourself there and you score goals that way. And they've also found some they've struck some excellent gold in putting McMahon, Domi, and Robertson together. That's been
Yes.
so much fun. Oh my god, I love Bobby
Yeah,
McMahon.
that's
So
That
much.
third line is unbelievable, man. It's high event.
It's special.
It's high event. they allow a lot, but they score. Like, it's hard to watch defensively sometimes. So I'm not gonna lie to you. Watching these guys get head in, and watching Domi and Robertson sit around like chickens with their heads cut off is hard to watch sometimes. But you know what? They score, man.
Dad, what was Bobby McManlin's sanity run like in 2024?
He's been so well. That contract that True Living gave him is looking unreal, and he got a lot of hate. He got some hate for it because like people were like, "All right, it's so early to give him that deal," but he's looked great, man. He's one of my favorite players on the team. I like. It's a little bit when you have Marner, Matthews, Tavares, Nylander saying that Bobby McMahon is your favorite player on the team is a little weird. Dude, I love McMahon.
I'm buying that jersey.
Bro, it's like this contract is like gonna bring me to tears. Like
I think he's
1.35
on
this
pace
year
for, like,
and next.
He's on pace for like 25 goals, is he not?
31.
Like,
He's on pace for 31.
He's on pace
oh,
for
wait, he missed
31,
a few
yeah.
games. Sorry, he missed a
Yeah.
few games. I forgot the
Brad
fact.
I think it's like
Pass,
25.
pass.
Yeah. I've liked Brad's move so far. I think OEL's kind of. I thought he started really well, and now he's kind of like blending back into maybe a little bit not as great, but I'm fine with him still. Hawkenpaw has been weird. I don't know what's wrong with
Played
Hawkenpaw.
2 games, then he just bye. Like,
I think
he's
someone
gone.
said that there's only like if he didn't get picked, there's only one Finnish defenseman in the NHL who didn't get picked to the Four Nations roster. So I'm really hoping that they just like switch him out, like take him out, because I don't need to see Yanni Hawkenpaw at the Four Nations, man. Like,
I mean, you're not going to.
well, you might, dude. His plan might be go Four Nations, like recover, play Four Nations, come back. But when he's played for the Leafs, I thought it's a really small sample size, but I thought, wow, he's actually like really solid. Like I knew he was
fine. I
solid
don't
in
know what the
Dallas,
problem
but I mean, I don't know.
crazy.
I'd like to see him play with Mo because I thought they were good together. But
It's crazy when you don't have like cartilage in your knee.
well, yeah. I don't know why the medical team cleared him. Like,
Like hockey anymore.
yeah, like I don't know. They know more about it
Uh,
than me. I'm not a doctor, but like,
Good
you don't
point.
have cartilage in your knee. Like, okay,
Like,
Can I ask you guys a question?
yeah.
Yeah.
I have not had the chance to watch a lot of games lately. What is going on with Connor Timmins? We had great things to say about him earlier this season, and he's been scratched.
I think he's been what I think you expect Connor Timmins to be.
Yeah.
I think you see some of the upside offensively. Sometimes he'll make a good play. You know what? He's like, I have never been a Connor Timmins fan. I thought, well, that's not true. I thought when Dubas got him, and I was like, okay, there's a little bit of upside there, not a bad deal.
Yeah.
I mean, we gave up Curtis Gabriel, I think, who's in like the AHL right now. He's a grinder.
he's nothing.
Yeah, like we gave him nothing, and I thought the contract was pretty solid. I'm like, all right, low AAV, got a defenseman in there, good organization, and then I thought, oh my god, he's terrible. Like, get him off my team. But one place I think he's pretty solid is at their own blue line. Like, he's really doing the puck on his stick at the blue line. He's pretty solid at making stuff happen, but defensively, sometimes he's just not there, and I can't watch him the defensive.
I think they like Myers' game better
yeah,
in terms of like
Yeah.
that kind of depth.
he plays a safer game.
They just like, yeah, I think that's what they like.
Yeah.
At least what
Yeah.
Berube probably
Yeah.
likes more for out of a blue liner.
Yeah, I'd
It's
agree with
interesting
that.
that they still call Riley Myers the top pair when really it's McCabe Tanev, is it not? Like,
Yeah, that McCabe Tanev pairing has been unreal this year, man. Just watching
That
those
is
two, it's just
shade.
incredible.
It is shades of the Tanev Lindell pairing last year
Yeah.
for Dallas in the playoffs,
Yeah.
where they just shut
Yeah.
down everything.
Yeah,
That's what
I
what
love
they
McCabe.
needed.
I love I got McCabe. I was on FaceTime with somebody and I was going through my TikTok and then McCabe edit popped up and they're like, "Is that a McCabe edit?" I'm like, "Yup, I love Jake McCabe. That's a McCabe edit."
That's crazy. Jake McCabe edit.
Oh my god.
So yeah,
What's
I
on
think
that? Like a
that-
poke check?
a lot of hits,
Stick
a lot of
lift.
hits, man.
It's a lot of hits.
It was
Patrick
what
Laine?
was it?
Has to be.
I was supposed to say, was it? No, it was all Leafs highlights. So it was a lot of.
Okay.
Was it Lindgren who he
Ryan
absolutely
Lindgren
destroyed?
on New York.
And
he
Mikey
killed him.
Easymon in the playoffs his first year in Toronto. McCabe, he killed him, murdered him, stepped over the blue line, destroyed him.
I love McCabe so much.
I love McCabe,
Oh my
dude.
god.
Yeah. So we want to talk about the standing. I want to talk about the standings a little bit. I mean, Florida. The thing that's so annoying about the Atlantic is they have played unreal recently, and no breathing room whatsoever. If they beat Boston tonight, they're only 2 points clear of Florida.
Yeah,
So
it's tight.
like yeah, it's gonna be tight. I don't know if they'll win the. I don't know if they'll win the division this year. I just think that they look a lot better. They look like they're playing playoff hockey, and I always thought that when Keefe was here, playing playoff hockey in the regular season meant you're gonna drop points in the regular season because you're not gonna score as much. But they haven't done that. They've continued to win. They've continued to look really solid. Goaltending has been great. Solars has been out. Wool has been unreal, and Matt Murray has looked. I don't know. He's your
About
third
as
goalie.
good as you'd expect him to be.
Yeah.
After missing
Yeah.
a full year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any expectations for him. It's tough. You rehab, you come back. I think it's great that he's came back. Like that's a journey and that's a grind to get back.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
Yeah, I thought he didn't look that great as Buffalo in that game he played. I thought, what was the other game he played? He played another one. Oh, the Washington game. I thought he could have done a little bit better on some of those. But at the same time, in that Washington game, there's a lot of those turnovers where I'm like, you can't, like Connor Dewar gets a turnover and it's a little bit of a soft goal, but it's a 2-on-1. And I'm like, Dewar can't get the puck up there. I know you want to save, but you can't. Like, there's a lot of defense. When I was watching those games, I'm like, there's some defensive, like, just stuff there that you just got to clean up. Like, no goalies. There's that one on the side of the net, and he didn't get across quick enough, but it's just a wide open one timer, and you give him all the time in the world.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is. He's your what, third or fourth goalie. Like, I don't think you can complain too much about that. Like,
Yeah, I think we knew. I think I said in our season preview episode that we're gonna see 4 goalies play this year, for better or worse. And it is what it is. They'll get through it. Stolars will be back before we know it. Walton's still been great.
he's been great. He scares me, man, because that last game against the Islanders, he's always holding on to something, and I'm like, please no, please no.
Replay.
And he's like, yeah, it just like tightens up sometimes on those like stretch plays, and I'm like, dude, you're like 26, like you're not 34. Like,
Yeah.
it's scary. But I mean, listen, it is what it is. He was fine. He played a great game against the Islanders again because he had that like back to back or home and home. It wasn't even a back to back. There was a day rest.
Playing again tonight.
Yeah, and he's playing it tonight. Is Murray with the team right now? I don't even know if it's Hildeby.
I
It's
think it's
Hildeby, so
Hildeby right
I assume
now,
we'll see Hildeby tomorrow.
Yeah. As far as the standings go of the Atlantic Division, it's been pretty tight. Except for a couple teams that I won't mention. But it's as far as the teams that are in contention for the playoffs, it's been tight. Like you mentioned, Toronto and Florida are right at there.
Yeah.
Boston has been holding.
Can we
on
save
to
let's save that Boston Ottawa area for later in the episode because I want to talk about the second wildcard spot. And I think we can have a little bit of discussion about the lower end of the playoff race there.
Sure. Do you want to go into the league talk now?
Yeah. So we're gonna start with the World Juniors. So I do want to start with Cowan since we were still kind of on Leafs talk. I mean, listen, we're 3 Canadians here. Obviously disappointed with the outcome of that tournament. They did not look good.
I knew
Cowan
they
especially
going to go far.
No, Cowan. I want to talk about Cowan just as a Leafs prospect. And there's another Leafs prospect still in the tournament. Miroslav Holinka is playing, I think, first line center for the Czech today against the U.S. at 7:30. So hopefully he does well. But I want to talk about Cowan. Listen, he's been getting tons of flack on Twitter, and it is a World Junior, so it's kind of tough sometimes because they're not pros. Like Cowan's played NHL games, but like a lot of these guys aren't pros, and they're getting a lot of this not even criticism. Some of it's like more than criticism, but. They're getting a lot of spotlight that they don't usually get. But I mean, listen, I think a lot of just fair criticism to go. And I want to focus on Cowan towards Cowan because I thought we're gonna focus on Cowan because it's the Leafs podcast. I know we're in league talk, but we got to focus on the Leafs prospects. I thought his game was sloppy. I thought he had to do way more than he should have done. He held on to that puck way too much. Coughed up the puck. He had that one goal against Finland, and I thought that was about it from what I liked from him. I didn't think he played well at all. I gotta be honest with you guys.
My issue with Cowan is that, like, I think for him, it's like you look at that team that they had this year, and there's so many guys that they left off.
Yeah,
and I feel like
it's not his fault that they lost, but
that's what
like
no,
at all.
Part of it for him is like I think part of it for him is like he probably expects so much of himself going into that tournament.
Yeah,
being like one of the older guys on the team.
Well, that's probably what they told him too. They probably
saying. Like he probably expected so much of himself, and like sometimes it's not a good thing to put that kind of pressure on yourself. And I think that's kind of what got to him this tournament.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do want to take it back. It is a little bit of his fault because when you're one of the returning players on the team, you do. I think there is an expectation there,
there's an
and it's
expectation.
fair expectations since you've been in that position. A lot of these guys haven't. Like you have Gavin McKenna, who I think is 17 years old, that's playing with you, and he hasn't had that experience. So you do hold the returning players to a higher standard, but I don't think it's not obviously not solely on him that they lost, but.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing online is that he's being held to way high of a standard here.
Yeah.
Like he is not like, yeah, he wasn't good. Nobody was. I think it's
Yeah,
weird
like,
that he's
it
getting
wasn't
singled
just
out.
him. He's
Yeah,
getting singled out because he's a Leafs prospect.
yeah, probably.
That's how, and like the issue I have is that people are like now calling him a shit prospect, and it's like, okay,
It's like,
you're
okay,
taking
he
a
had- he had-
you're taking like a 4 game sample size from an international
Dude,
tournament.
Yeah.
I saw a
He had
Simpson
five
say
bad
they should
games.
trade him now. You trade him because of a 2 week sample size when he's been unreal in the OHL. Like,
That's actually crazy hypocritical from Sid Sixera because this is the same guy that said that like a Calder Cup means nothing, which is like
Yeah.
fair, but hold
Yeah.
that same standard for tournaments that don't mean anything. The World
Yeah, like,
Juniors,
it's-
don't get me wrong, the World Juniors is awesome and it's great
Oh,
for
yeah.
international. It's great for these guys to go and play for their country, but like
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things and like prospect development, it really doesn't mean that much. Look
how
at
many times
Justin
did Toby
Pogge- look at
Niemela?
Justin Pogge.
How many times did Toby Niemela win defenseman of the tournament and he hasn't played an NHL game yet,
Like,
man?
no,
he's,
here's
not
the
even talking
thing.
about him.
It does not mean that much for prospect development, and now people think Cowan is like some shit prospect, and I'm just like,
No.
okay, this guy's on like a 55 game point streak in the OHL, man.
Yeah.
He's not
yeah,
a shit
he pl-
prospect.
he
just
played
had a
5
bad
games.
tournament.
He played 5 games. He wasn't that great. Same with a bunch of other players on Canada. And for a lot of these guys, it's their first time playing together. For some of the non-returning players, maybe it's their first time playing under Dave
Yeah. Cameron,
who we can get to
Shit
that.
coach.
Oh my god, dude.
But yeah, let's.
Yeah, that's
we're-
another thing we should talk about too. The coach is
Yeah,
dog shit.
let me
Yeah,
just.
bad.
I was just gonna say, like, we're drawing the wrong conclusions here. Yeah, it's a popular tournament. Yeah, it's a high-profile tournament. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, like he's not. This is not a dog shit prospect now because
Yeah,
he had a
Fraser
bad
Minton wasn't good
4 game
last
tournament.
year.
Yeah,
No,
Fraser
he-
Minton had a bad tournament last year too.
Yeah.
And look at him; he's perfectly fine. Like it
He
does
played 11
not
games
mean
this year and
anything
he
in
was
the
great.
grand scheme of things in the prospects development. That's just the
It's a
biggest
2 week.
issue. I
It's a
had.
2 week. Dude, you have what 4 or 5 games to make an impact, and
Yeah, and
he didn't. He had a bad. He had like I guess Finland. I thought he scored, but I thought he still didn't have a great game. I thought he coughed up the puck
Yeah.
a little too much, but
yeah.
yeah, it's just 4 or 5 games where you don't have your best, and I mean the rest of the team was pretty bad too. So I mean,
yeah,
Could have used
this
Beckett
is-
Seneca, but
Yeah,
Could've.
this is
Or
the same
Parrish.
thing though. This is the
Or
same thing that
Yakupchuk.
happened.
or
This is the same
yeah.
thing that happened to Maxime Comtois like years ago. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, like Maxime
Yeah.
Comtois is like cooked now, but like he was a fairly solid prospect and he had good years with Anaheim. Like
oh, and he was
It-
crazy good in that tournament too, was he not?
I think
He-
no,
he had a
2018
sti-
he was.
He broke his stitch against Finland, right? Like when you took this one
think,
timer.
yeah.
that was Noah
him,
Dobson.
right?
That was
Was that?
Noah
Oh,
Dobson.
it was Dobson. You're right. But yeah,
Oh, and he's great now.
Well, he's had a down year, but yeah, I mean, he was one of the best offensive defensemen in the NHL
Yeah.
last year. So, yeah, I don't know. Look, So we're on the World Juniors. We should probably talk about the team as a whole now. We've talked a lot about Cowan. I don't think there's no need to beat a dead horse. Everyone knows he didn't play that well, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I listen. I'm not the biggest prospect guy, so I don't. It's not like I have a lot of insight into who they probably should have picked. But there's a couple that were just like mind-boggling. I think to like an NHL fan who kind of knows prospects a little bit, like Zane Perrick not getting picked. Really good offensive defenseman for a team that needed scoring, and they didn't get scoring throughout the whole tournament. Yakupchuk, Yakupchuk, 30 goals as a defenseman, didn't make the team. So, I mean, again, you need scoring, don't have it. Forwards, you don't take this 3rd overall pick, Beckett Seneca, who's one
Andrew
player of the
Cristall, Michael Misa.
Crystal.
I forgot about Andrew Cristall, and this isn't even to say that the players that were on the team are bad. Like there were a lot of good players and good prospects on the team, but this is, I mean, it's fair to say that Canada has a high standard of where they sit in international hockey at every level. So if you pick every player, some good players are going to be left off the team.
And they should have that expectation. Like what?
Yeah,
What else? Like
yeah.
we've dominated this. I mean, honestly, we haven't dominated this tournament as much as I feel like I thought we did. Like I was looking back at the winners, and I mean, we win a lot. We do. But we don't. I think it's tighter than I remember it being for some
Past
reason.
couple
And I
years
know.
have been rough.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they had that. They almost choked against Finland. McTavish knocks the puck out of the air off the goal line, go back the other way. They score the overtime winner. So you have that, but I mean, listen, they lost to the Czech Republic last year in the quarterfinals. Yeah. They lost to the U.S. in the finals, where I remember that game. They created nothing, man. Like we lost 2-0, and I don't think we had one great scoring chance. Like it was bad. I think the last team that just looked really good, and I thought was the best team for like all tournament was the Bedard team. Yeah, and even then, we almost choked against the Czech Republic. Like we almost choked. So I mean,
our daddies.
No, they ever since Russia left, they've owned us.
Yeah. Was that Czech Republic? They Slovakia took them to overtime too.
Yeah, Bedard had that crazy goal.
Yeah, it was a crazy goal.
He dangled like the whole. It's 3-on-3, but he dangled the whole team and tucked it in overtime to win it.
He kind of carried.
I mean, you expect someone like that to carry. He's like a. I mean, I thought generational prospect. Was that fair to say? Like I thought he was up there, right? Like
he was insane.
Yeah, he was crazy. He took over that tournament.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to say about the World Juniors? Just a quick check. It's 3-2 Finland after 2. Game's been great. Every time I look up, it looks like there's a bit scoring chance or a goal. So,
yeah, I do have one more thing to add. Yeah. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but Peter Anholt, who was the general manager for the last 2 seasons for
his term expired.
Yeah, for the Canadian U20 national team, his term expired. According to Scott Wheeler, they might be looking for a full-time management group for the tournament.
They should, man. Like what? Like you're Hockey Canada. What else do you have to do? Like what?
You're the biggest hockey nation on the planet. I think.
Yeah, it doesn't have a full-time.
Could do that.
Yeah,
they have to go to court, but
there's enough. There's enough. Go to court. Oh my jeez. There's enough tournaments and stuff though that like I think you could justify having like a dedicated.
Yeah. Dude, it's the biggest tournament. They don't have the Olympics to worry about. Well, I mean now they do, but
now they will.
For the long time they didn't. The World Juniors happen every year.
Was Hockey Canada still not in charge of those Olympic teams even when the NHL wasn't there?
I guess they would be. They would be. I guess you're right. They would be.
Honestly, that's probably harder. Because you have to pick between Mason Raymond and Chris Terry to put on the team.
Well, the thing is that like all of our best players are. I mean, this goes for every nation aside from maybe Russia, but like all your best players are in the NHL, so like you have to dig deep. But yeah, I don't know. They should have a full time. I think you should have a full time for every age group because I think there's got to be some sort of change in the way that they think because like I said, I don't watch junior hockey all the time. I'm not gonna pretend like I do, but from everyone that I've read that does, like the big prospect guys in hockey media, they have always said that they tried to go for more of a two-way style. And I think Jeff O'Neill said it on the broadcast after. If you look at the best Canadian teams, there's always best talent, and you just force guys to play a role. And the best players can usually figure it out because they're the best players in the world. So I don't know.
What do you play? 8 games in this tournament? There's probably also something to like if you score a lot through an 8-game stretch, you're gonna win a lot of games.
Yeah.
If you dumb down your teams, like the one thing Canada has, I think, over every other team besides goaltending is the fact that there's just so much talent, and when you pick your team in that certain way, you're dumbing down the amount of talent that you have when it's your biggest advantage. Like play into your strengths.
You just overwhelm them. That's what I feel like every World Junior team that wins does. They're harder on the puck than everyone else. They're more talented. You can't skate with them. Yeah. And it just felt like all tournament that they were on their heels. I don't think there was one. Maybe Latvia they got goalied. Like I think it's pretty fair to say that Feldsberg, I think his name is, played unreal, and that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen sometimes. But I thought in the games against, aside from Finland, they won 4-0. But I thought in the games against the U.S., I thought in the games against the Czech Republic, they looked, and even just Germany, I thought they were on their heels sometimes, and I didn't think that they ever dominated the game.
This could have been one of like the nastiest teams they've had in a while if they just picked best player available,
the right players,
and move on.
Yeah, and the other thing, there's stuff that's popping into my head right now about the World Juniors too, and we were going to talk about Dave Cameron. We really need to because some of those lineup decisions were mind-boggling. First of all, they didn't practice. They didn't practice at all. And they're like, oh, they're tired. I'm like, they're 17, like 18, 19. They're all in game shape because they've been playing their OHL season. Some of them went to NHL camps and played NHL games. And
I'm
those
sorry, they didn't
teams
practice?
that no, dude, they're I
I
gotta
didn't
find the
know about
tweet.
that.
I gotta find the tweet. I'll find the tweet.
Yeah, that's like before the tournament they practiced, right?
No, I'm talking. Yeah. There's obviously camps, but I'm saying during the tournament they didn't practice. There, I think Scott Wheeler is the one who tweeted it, and I'll find that right now because I probably should have pulled this up. But
No, don't worry. That's an
Dave
insane
Cameron.
strategy.
Well, Dave Cameron was asked about it, and he said, "Oh, they're tired." You lost to the Czech Republic. Those guys play in Europe. They had to take a flight across the world to get here. Like, we're in Ottawa. Like, you're
no
picking guys.
excuse.
There's no excuse. How are you tired? I get
These
it,
guys
be
have
tired,
also been playing hockey at a high level for their whole lives.
That's what I'm
They've
saying.
they've 100% every single one of them has played in the hockey tournament where they've had to play 3 games in one day. Like
That's what I'm
that
saying.
has absolutely happened to all of them.
I think practice.
Here it is. So Team Canada did not hold a practice during the World Juniors and did not skate before the quarterfinals. Dave Cameron, because when he was asked why, Dave Cameron, because we were exhausted. There's no system for tired hockey players, which is complete. How is everyone? So you're telling me everyone else in the tournament is just more conditioned than us? Like that doesn't happen. These guys are
Biggest
playing
hockey
for.
program in the planet.
That's
On
what I'm
the
saying,
planet.
dude. They're playing in the best leagues that we have. One of the guys who's a fourth line center, by the way, for some reason they did this to Quinn Byfield too. Jet Luchenko played games for Philly. John Tortorella's the coach. He's not taking guys who are out of shape and you just they're tired. What?
So there's this crazy thing. It's called sleeping.
Yeah, but they're fine, dude. They're tired. Whatever. They know more. They're with them every day. But not holding one practice, not one skate during the World Juniors is insane. I've never heard that in my life.
Especially with the
and-
performance they had especially
100%.
with the group stage performance. You're telling me going into the quarterfinals you don't have a practice?
Also, the discipline factor, completely undisciplined. And listen, those two neon knee calls, awful. That's double IHF reffing for you. But it wasn't even that. There's just stupid. Cowan took one against the U.S. where you're punching people. There's penalties that are not excusable. We're like, yeah, that's a penalty. You can't do that. So first of all, bad coaching. Second of all, they're talking about there's no systems for tired hockey players. The special teams were awful. Those power plays, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, these are worse than the Leafs. Like I've seen some bad power plays, and this is worse. Like
Here's the thing with the penalties, especially the neon knee ones, is that's just like this is the way the World Juniors have been called for years. Like you just
nothing changes, dude.
If you
double
don't know
HF
that
reffing
going
soft,
in,
it is how it is.
yeah, and it's like for whatever reason they're younger players. They've tried to protect them. I don't think that's a
Yeah.
terrible thing. It is what it is. Just
It's the
play
same way in
that
the
way.
Olympics too, though.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I
just
mean,
learn
listen.
that.
The thing is about those two neon knees is that one that oh my god, do you guys know who took the last penalty? What was his name? It's on the tip of my tongue.
Gibson.
Gibson, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, you're trying to play physical. You don't need to take that hit there. There's no reason to hit a guy, to go flying in and hit a guy with 2 minutes left. That's an undisciplined
And you're down
hit.
a goal.
And you're down a goal. And listen, it's a good hit. I thought it was a great hit. I thought he killed him. I thought it was a clean hit. If you looked at it, I mean, it depends on the person, but I thought they went thigh on thigh and they got upper body contact first, and I thought it was textbook.
Yeah.
But you don't need to hit him there. Like
No.
the puck's getting dumped into the corner. You don't need to murder your guy at the blue line.
Yeah, and
on
here's
that,
the
on
thing.
that point.
The NHL that doesn't get called.
No.
World Juniors,
It's getting
that's
called.
getting called. Yeah.
Especially when you watch what happened earlier in the game. That's a 5-minute
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
clean open ice hit. Like, why are you taking that hit again?
You had an example of where that hit gets called. It
Yeah.
was right in front of your eyes, and you were upset about it the first time. It's not going to change just because you're
So,
upset.
do you have
about it.
anything to say on the World Juniors here?
Them scratching Porter Martone for a few
Yeah.
games was also puzzling. But
I mean, he played bad in that one game, but
In the
you
one
need
game,
scoring,
but-
dude. Like, play your best players.
he's
Like,
gonna
oh
be
my
the
god.
number 1 draft pick this year, and you're telling me you're scratching him?
Yeah.
I don't know. And for all the hate Easton Cowan got, he was still tied for the team lead in scoring with 3 points in 5 games.
Another crazy sound of World Juniors, and I want to move on because I feel like we could sit here all day and do a separate pod on what went wrong. But I think it took until the quarterfinals for Canada to have a multi-goal scorer on the team, and that was Bradley Nadeau who scored the game-time goal late in the third period against the Czech Republic, and that's crazy. That shows how much they struggled to score. one more thing, because I have to get this off my chest, and then I want to move on, because Dave Cameron pissed me off. Not playing Bonk and Dickinson together until Schaefer got hurt when they played for each other on London. When you have such a short period of time and you bring together guys who don't play with each other, when you have a pairing who plays with each other every single day in the OHL, play them together.
Yeah.
Play them together.
Yep.
Is, is this some insight into what the Four Nations lineup will look like? We're gonna see.
I hope not.
Theodore McCarr, Taves Pietrangelo.
I know, dude. When I wrote about the Chris Tanev snub for the Four Nations, I was saying it's so great that they have familiarity in their defense core, because you have Theodore and Petro and McCarr and Taves, and they're going to be two pairings. And then we go to the World Juniors, and they're like, yeah, no, Bonk and Dickinson, split them up. Split them up.
I think, thankfully, for the Four Nations, they actually have like
I have an NHL coach. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
coaching
good coach.
management.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think they'll. You
No,
know,
we're not gonna have to
figure
worry about
it
that.
The fuck out.
I sent you guys the Four Nations blue lines earlier, and I think it's just so funny that it's like, oh yeah, McCarr, Taves, Pietrangelo, Theodore, Morrissey, and then you just throw Sanheim and Pareko in. Like, okay,
Yeah,
what are they
saw
doing
that
there?
one up right now. Yeah.
They're like actually trying to make like, you know, a bottom pair. It's like as if there's a you know, salary cap on a fucking
I know.
Olympic team.
Yeah.
Anyways, I want to move on to get back to the NHL now. I think one of the biggest stories, and it's been on 32 Thoughts a lot recently, is the Vancouver situation. What's wrong with JT Miller and Elias Pettersson? Yeah. There's a rift in the locker room, and apparently Tocchet and Hughes are both sick of it. And I there's been like, they were talking about trading Pettersson on 32 Thoughts, and I think there was a little bit hypothetical. I think Elliot Friedman was talking like it's a hypothetical, but it could happen. Like it's not like a 0% chance. And I know
Right.
they were talking about them both. Like they were talking about moving GT Miller as well. First of all, I think it's crazy. Two grown men figure it out. You're getting paid millions of dollars, and you're you're supposed to be two leaders in your hockey team. So there's that. There's obviously there's beef that's gonna happen in locker rooms. Like you're not gonna ever have. I don't think there's not every single time you look at a winning team, there's probably a couple guys in there that hate each other and don't want to play with each other. But you don't hear about it that often when they win. So I mean, I think that's a big problem. And the question I want to ask you guys is, out of the two, who would you trade if you were Vancouver?
Miller.
Right now on Miller, Pettersson's ever since signing that contract mid-season has
I
been
agree.
terrible.
I had him in
he's been
fantasy
the
last
lead
year,
and just
dude.
left.
Fuck.
He started
Yeah.
last year at like another 100-point pace,
Yeah.
and then just fell off. He finished the year with 89 points.
Look, if there's something
This year-
about JT Miller
this
that
year-
is
Sorry, you go.
no, sorry, finish your thought.
No, because I actually have to do this real quick because I want to like Pettersson right now has 28 points in 34 games.
Yeah.
That is a 67-point pace. He is making $11.6 million. That's
terrible.
not good enough. That's not good enough. You're 26. You're supposed to be entering your prime where you should be replicating at least close to that 22-23 season where you had 100 points. That's what they paid you for. They paid you to be one of the best defensive players in the league too. Yeah. And he's been terrible, and he was terrible in the playoffs last year. I'd honestly consider trading him over Miller because I feel like at least Miller shows up more consistently. This year's been okay, but he also had to take that mental break for a bit, and he's been playing better than Pettersson. He has 25 points in 28 games. He had 103 points last year. Yeah. He's a harder working player. He's rounded out his defensive game a lot the past few years.
Dude, he used to be awful. Watching him in the Canadian division was hilarious. That guy would have not moved his feet was he not past center ice, man.
I feel like Tocchet really, I think, fixed Miller's defensive game, but I don't know.
He scored 100 points at the NHL, which I can't believe. Like Marner
Miller had
done that.
99 points too.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, I think the problem is with JT Miller is it's kind of a theme. I think you hear a lot about him getting into arguments with teammates in the room, and I mean, if you remember, he doesn't go after. It's not just young guys. Like he was like snapping at Luke Shen in the bubble. Like, do you remember that?
Yeah,
like slamming his stick off the back of the net, yelling at Demko to get. I think it was Demko, like screaming at him to get. Like, I feel like he. It might be part of his personality. Maybe it's just as like he wants to win so bad, but it's just like sometimes you gotta tone it down a bit. Like, cause, I mean, he's had issues with teammates before. But I don't know. It's just crazy to me. And one thing about about that trade thing there. I think I think it was Friedman who brought up Dobson. Like maybe the Islanders would want that.
I've seen a lot about the Rangers too.
Yeah, the Rangers
Yeah,
apparently inquired about him the last 2 deadlines or something like that, where they wanted
my
to bring
God.
bring
I
him in.
think that could make sense for both.
I
teams.
think so too.
JT Miller is such a New York Islander, man. Oh my God, I never realized
Islander
that
or
before.
Ranger?
Islander. That is
I
such
feel
an
Ranger.
that's
I
I think he's
such
a
good
Ranger.
player.
I think
feel
his
Ranger.
dude. I think he bothers too many people to be a Lou player. I think he is
Here's-
perfect for the Rangers.
Here's what makes him a Lou player to me: $8 million until 2030 and a full no move.
He loves those long contracts that you can't do anything about.
Yeah,
Especially when
that's-
they're on the wrong side of 30.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Never
This
a
is
young
why
player.
This is
never-
I
why
want
think
Pierre Engvall on my team forever.
7
Scott
years.
Mayfield.
Not Martin. I won't give you 8, but I'll give you 1 for 8 years. 1 every single year for 8 years.
This is why I think JT Miller is the guy to trade if you're gonna move one of these two guys as Vancouver. I just think Pettersson has the higher upside. Miller, like, it's harder because you have the whole full move. You don't have a full move for Pettersson until next year. In fact, no trade protection this year for Pettersson. Pettersson's got the higher upside, and when Miller was gone, when he took that short break mid-season, Pettersson had a crazy stretch of
He
games.
did. He did. That was wild.
Maybe
dude.
Miller is the
Yeah.
problem.
Maybe
Miller the problem.
maybe that's Pettersson's problem, and maybe you have to move a really good player so that you get Elias Pettersson, who's
The
even
one-
better when he's at his best.
The one player I've seen in like rumors about in like JT Miller to New York swap is Lafreniere going back. But I wonder if Mika Zabin, like literally just 1-for-1. I don't know about 1-for-1, but maybe like a Zabinajad for Miller trade.
I
would
just
make
want to jump in
sense.
here real quick because I was listening to 32 Thoughts yesterday, and Friedman did bring that point up, but he's like,
Yeah.
I feel like he's like, no, but he said I think that it would have been done already if they could have done that, and he doesn't
I
know if
definitely
Vancouver
think-
would want that.
I definitely think New York would have to add because Zabinajad
I do
one has
too.
been terrible this season, and 2 just in general when they're both at their peaks, I don't know if
Yeah.
Zabinajad is as good as
No.
Miller. Although
Yeah, none of this
Zibanejad
matters.
has
Both,
had Zibanejad has had crazy seasons in the past, but
I was just gonna say it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter too much what the team fits are here because both those players have full no moves too. Because if they don't want to go to one of those teams, it's just
true.
Well, I feel like one of them would probably go. I feel like they just want to know that situation because Friedman also did say that he thinks that Vancouver kind of wants Pettersson to adapt a little bit of JT Miller's personality and maybe be a little bit I don't even want to say tougher, but just like a little bit more. I don't even know what the word is. Yeah, maybe more combative.
More
I don't know,
emotion.
but then yeah, and then they also want Miller to
Tone it down.
kind of sort of adapt Pettersson's personality a little bit and tone it down a bit. So I think they probably think there's fault on both sides. Like both of them needed to figure it out a little bit.
I have a
And
solution.
yeah. What is it?
JT Miller and Elias Pettersson couples counseling.
And then you know what? Send Demko and Langton together just to see like just see the other side of it.
Yeah, like put them in a room together and let them just like get a therapist in there and just like let
Yeah.
them talk it out, and like they can learn a thing or two from each other, you know. Like Pettersson can learn to show his emotion a little bit, and JT Miller can learn like not everything has to be.
I want to see Quinn Hughes and Hronik go in there too, because I feel like Hronik never says anything. He looks miserable all the time, and Quinn Hughes is quiet too. Like,
they
what's
just,
going
like,
on?
they
Like,
just be like,
they're a pair. Like, what do they talk about? Like,
they talk about how to heal from their injuries because they're both injured right now.
well, Hronik
And-
has been out for a while, man, and Quinn
Yeah.
Hughes has been
They
holding it
just
together.
yanked them.
Jolene
just
Brisbois
yanked
is
them.
on their first
Yeah.
pair.
All right. So from one tough situation, and we talked about the other one that I want to move on to now just a little bit, but the Rangers, they just lost
Look.
7-4 today to the Caps.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
terrible.
are, I believe they are 5 points over the playoffs, over the second
cooked.
wildcard spot.
They're cooked.
And I do think we could kind of talk about here the second wildcard spot while talking about the Rangers, because I feel like if they're going to make the playoffs, that's the only way they're going to make it. But yeah, man, it's been rough. I think I saw in their last 20 games, they're 6 for 14, I think it was. Let me just take a quick look to make
Yeah,
sure
that's
that's
right.
right.
This is a
You go, Jay.
Go ahead, Seb.
Okay, I was gonna say because I remember when this whole thing was starting, where they started losing games and everybody was losing their mind, and they had been on like a 4-game losing streak, and I was like, okay, why is everybody like losing their mind? It's really
just a
not
slump.
that bad.
Yeah.
And it's just spiraled. Like it has gone crazy. And I feel
I
like
just want to jump in because I have the correct numbers now. The Rangers are 4-16 in their last 20, so it's now more than
Crazy.
a slide. It's just
Terrible.
like bad.
it's
Yeah.
now they're cooked. But like at the time when this started, they had only lost like 4 or 5 games in a row, and I was so confused because everybody was like melting down. It was like trade rumors were flying all over the place.
Yeah.
And I was confused, to be honest, because like I knew they had struggled this year, but they were still like first in the division. They were still at least
Yeah, they
top
were
three.
first in the Metro. They were
still
first in the
top
Metro.
3 in the division. They were scoring, and
Yeah.
it's just like ever since the Trouba trade, I feel like the Trouba trade did not help. It's just continued.
The start of the
I was
downfall
gonna
for
say.
me was when they sent out the trade memo about Kreider, Trouba, and Zibanejad.
It's just
Because they
what
went
do
after
you-
3 veterans in that room that are part of that core. And you can say whatever you want about Trouba, but you know what? Sometimes those guys hold the room together. And I think Jury lost the trust
Exactly.
of those guys in that room. And especially when you throw Kreider in there, who, listen, he hasn't been great this year, but like he's been great in the playoffs before. He scored 50 goals in the NHL.
He's Mr. New York Ranger. Like he's
Mr.
been there
Yeah,
forever.
dude, he's been there forever. He was part of the cup final run, was he not? Didn't he not play on that team? I think he
He
did.
absolutely did. He
There-
was
When
there
they lost to
because he's the guy
Kings,
who
yeah.
ran Price.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Their whole top of the lineup has just completely like fell apart. Lafreniere completely stopped
Ghost.
scoring.
Ghost,
just hit
man.
a wall. He stopped completely.
Well, and I have a stat on
It's-
that. I have a stat on that.
It's so interesting.
Artemi
Like
Panarin's not scoring the same way anymore. Fox is, I mean, he's a defenseman. Will Cooley
Still
has
scores
like
a lot,
been
though.
like one of the only bright spots on this team.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Trocheck has been
and-
like okay.
Okay, so
Zibanejad-
Panarin,
thing, this-
Panarin has 1 goal in his last 10 games. Lafreniere has no goals in his last 11, and Trocheck has 2 in his last 11. So they're not getting scoring from the top of their lineup.
Yeah, and they were okay. Like we said, it was a slump, and then they sent out the trade memo, and like the Trouba trade, while on paper, honestly, that looks like a really good trade because they get some value back for a bad contract for a player who hasn't provided, well, let's say hasn't provided $8 million of value to the team
No.
in a little while. But like you said, Matteo, that's a guy that holds the room together. And how often does a captain get traded in December? Like that was just
Yeah.
like
It's-
really poor
it's just
judgment.
crazy. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just crazy because like this feels like a team that should have been like
Better.
there was no signs of this.
They won the President's
had
Trophy
two-
with an
they won the
identical
dude.
roster.
They won the President's Trophy last year. They've had 2 conference finals runs in the past 3 years.
Can you guys think of a team that won the President's Trophy that just like got destroyed this quickly? It's usually you win the President's Trophy, you crash out in the playoffs, and then you get like you have a
can't-
good run after. Like it's
Can't
like
think of
I've never seen
Make
it,
me look
and
this up
it
now.
yeah, maybe one of the Chicago teams. Like, do you think did Chicago at the end? I don't even
won
think they
the
won the
cup-
President's Trophy at the end of
they
their
won-
run though.
No, you know what? They won the cup in 2015, and then that's when everything started to kind of. But they still made the playoffs for like
They did, yeah.
2 or 3 years after. then.
Detroit did the same thing. They won the cup and they had that long
This
playoff
has just
streak.
been like
I've actually got one for you.
Who
The
is
New
it?
York Rangers won the 14-15 President's Trophy.
No way. No way.
Yeah. Could be a.
my
I'm gonna see if they won the 93-94 President's Trophy too, but they also won the cup that year, so that's not
Yeah, they
quite
won
the
the cup.
same.
this is just it's puzzling. I've never seen
The only teams below them, yeah. The only teams
never
below
seen
them in
a
the
team like
East
this.
are the Islanders and the Sabres. And I think if you told me that before the season, I'd be like, unreal,
A
shocking.
little asterisk to that is that the East hasn't been like the Sabres are the only team that's like fucking
Definitively
terrible
bad.
in the East right
Everyone
now.
else
Like,
has
you
been
have-
mid though, bro. Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no
it's
one that's
mid.
been like
It's
great.
literally
Yeah.
battle of mid.
Yeah.
It's the battle of
Yeah.
mid.
Yeah. It's
Um,
it's insane. I honestly
Give
just
me
for the
1
sake
second.
of
I'm just gonna
I-
go grab my charger. I'll be back.
yeah, for sure.
Here, let's
I-
carry
I-
the conversation.
Yeah.
Jacob.
Okay, I'm just gonna say, like, for the sake of, I like this team and I like a lot of the players that are on this team. I hope they can turn it around, and I think that they have the ability to. But whether they will,
I genuinely don't know what fixes this team though, because like you're on Laviolette is the 3rd coach this core has had. What, you're gonna fire another coach? You're gonna go to your 4th coach in the past like what 5 years,
yeah,
6 years,
And it started with the Goudreau thing too, didn't it? Because that was
Yeah.
when
Yeah, they didn't
like
the
how
G-
they
maybe-
handled that either.
maybe
Yeah.
the GM is the problem with Drury. Like, I think the players maybe have just lost faith in their management, which is crazy because they've made the conference finals for the past 2 out of 3 times the past 3
It's
years. And
not.
Drury has made some good moves.
Yeah.
The problem is it's not about if they lost faith in him. It's about how they feel like they're being treated. Like that
I guess,
Goodrow
yeah.
is the same thing as Trouba. Big guy in the room, right?
I
And I
just
think you
wonder-
see
It's
a lot of those
and
reports.
the
and
crazy playoff performance from
I
Gaudreau.
think
That's
the
what I'm saying.
only-
I think you ruined your team over a guy who was like, I don't know if you needed to handle it that way because I thought he was fine. I thought you provided the $3 million in the playoffs. Like, listen, regular season, you're right. Did not provide. He was never worth that contract in the regular season, but in the playoffs, he was a great performer. I would have taken him on the Leafs, dude. Like,
the biggest thing is that I just don't know how you fix this without, because
Yeah.
we saw this happen with Vegas where they got that reputation of like that,
but then they won.
cutthroat. And if they fixed it by just winning a cup, and now nobody talks about Vegas being really cutthroat anymore. That was a big thing with Vegas for a couple of years, and they missed the playoffs, and everybody talked about it. How
Especially after
cutthroat,
Fleury,
they
because
don't play
everyone's
the
like,
right
how do you
way.
handle? Everyone's like, how do you treat Fleury like that?
Yeah, like everybody
And-
commented about how they ran that team the wrong way. They were too cutthroat. They treated it too much like a business, and then they went out and won, and everybody shut up. And I feel like that's the only way the Rangers can really fix this with Drury as their general manager. But they're too far gone at this point, and I think Drury's cooked.
Yeah, I think like maybe a big move helps them. I don't know. Maybe like a younger player stepping up and kind of driving. Like, but I don't know. Like, why?
Well, the problem is
Trouba's not the big move.
They've had contributions from like guys like Willie Coyle, who it's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
He's been
Yeah,
good.
Will Cooley, sorry. And he's been good. And dude, he's not. You don't expect that. So you're getting contributions from guys you don't really expect to get it from, but then you look at the top end of your lineup, the guys that you're paying all the money to, and it's not been good. And I know Shesterkin's on the IR now, but listen, like it's
Quick's
on. Quick is good, but the thing is with Shesterkin is he was allowing a lot before he got put on IR, and maybe he was put with an injury. That'd be part of it. The other thing is I watch the Rangers, and defensively they are a disaster. Keandre Miller has not been good. Lindgren, who I thought was a solid defenseman, just hasn't been good either. He's been terrible. So there's just a lot going wrong, and I honestly do think that the start of the downfall was when they sent out the trade memo, because I think that they thought they didn't have the trust of the front office anymore, and that usually goes two ways. One, everyone rallies together and you go on a long stretch and you win out of spite, or it falls apart, and it fell apart.
I also wonder if the Shesterkin signing had anything to do with this, because I feel like after that Shesterkin signing, if it was like everything started falling apart after that, and I do wonder if there's been no report of it, so I don't really know, and I don't necessarily see how it could relate, but weird shit happens sometimes, and I wonder if him getting paid that much money did something. I really don't know.
Maybe, but
I don't. The biggest thing is I don't know what the answer is to this team and what fixes it, because we don't really know what the problem was.
I just think
They kind of suck.
If you remember, if you remember when Trouba had his post-trade press conference, he says it's never a rite of passage to get fired at MSG. And I think that's a reference back to the way that they handled the Goodrow thing, where they placed him on waivers because they couldn't trade, or he wouldn't waive the no move, and San Jose was lined up and they knew that they were going to claim him. And I think they didn't like how that's also a thing to the trade memo where they're like, yeah, Kreider, Zibanejad, Trouba, we want you gone. And I think, and I don't know if I don't think the Shesterkin thing had anything to do with it, Seb, but that's an interesting theory. But I just think that they're sick of the way that the big players on this team are getting treated, and I think as a GM you have to know which buttons to press, and it feels like he went after the most popular guys in the room, and I don't know how smart. As much as you want to make your hockey team better, sometimes you look at a cap, you have to look at a little bit more than what goes on the ice, because I think sometimes there's a domino effect to something that maybe he just didn't see coming. But I mean, Trouba's your captain, and I think guys like them, and I think guys obviously like Goodrow, because I think there's a lot of reports about how people complained the way that was handled. So I don't know I don't think Drury understood what buttons he had to press to get that team to work well, and I think it's blown up in his face. And the other thing is that when you trade Trouba, sure, he's not an $8 million defenseman, but I don't think he's terrible, and you never really replaced him yet. And I know that you cleared the money to replace him, But I feel like if you're gonna make a move like that when your team's struggling, you better have another trade lined up like right away because you need to add something to that to keep them afloat, and he hasn't done that.
Yeah.
I feel like
All
part of what happened was that they shipped off Truba so that long term they could afford the Shesterkin deal.
Maybe you're right.
And
yeah.
others.
And
And others.
Well,
I
yeah,
think-
you're gonna have to sign Laugh. You're gonna have to sign Andre Miller. Those
I
guys
think
are
they
gonna
might
sign.
have-
they
Miller.
might have
Yeah, if
they
you
might have
want to,
viewed
yeah.
they might have viewed that as like cutthroat because like, okay, we understand that you need to afford this long term, but you're gonna trade our captain mid season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All that being said, the Rangers currently sit 5 points out of the second
Yeah.
wild card with 35 points. Pittsburgh has 40. Ottawa has 40. They currently occupy the wild card spot. Boston, sorry, I thought Boston had 40. They have 44. But yeah, so they aren't that far out of the playoffs.
Could I just say
Is-
one more thing
Yeah, sure.
about the Rangers? Like, it makes me. This is gonna sound so sacrilegious, but like, it actually makes me so thankful for the Leafs because I feel like the Leafs could have very easily, at any point in the past 9 years, gotten down the same path that the Rangers are going on, and somehow they haven't.
That could have been
Regular
them last
season,
year.
they just show up and they figure it
I
out
don't know.
and they
I
win.
don't know. I'm not be honest with you.
And they do
I'll be
shit in
honest
the
with you.
and they do shit in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, but at
Yeah.
least we don't have to sit. Like, at least we haven't had to sit through something like this. I feel terrible.
I
for
mean,
Rangers
listen,
fans right now.
listen. We kind of had to sit through it with when Nylander's went through the contract extension, where
But not
one
to
of your
this
best
extent.
players.
Not
no,
to this extent where the team.
no,
just
no. You're right. No,
sucks
you're right.
and
You're
there's
right.
no
you're right,
answer.
You're right. I don't know. I don't feel good about anything the Leafs have done in the past 8 years. I gotta be honest. The playoffs is just like I can't.
This
I
has
can't get
made me
past
like
it.
relatively thankful that something like this hasn't happened to the Leafs because genuinely, if I was a Rangers fan, I don't know what I'd do because there's no answer.
The thing is that the Rangers fans have had 2 Eastern Conference Finals, and I'd do anything to see the Leafs in the Eastern Conference Final. So like, I don't know, man. But yeah, I don't know. I do want to talk about the Western, or not the Western Conference, the wild card race because
Yeah.
you're trying to touch on it, Jacob. But to me, it feels like nobody wants it. Like it's just kind of like Ottawa's been bad since Olmark got hurt. I think they're like 1-4 in the last 5, and it's just. Who do you guys think is? Yeah, who do you guys think is? I mean, they finally got a goalie. Maybe it is a goalie problem in Ottawa and not a Ottawa Senators problem. But
Who knows?
who do you think is going to hit the second wild card spot in the East by the time the
I
season
think it's
ends?
going to be Boston because I think
I agree.
Tampa's been too good this season. I think Tampa's going to pass Boston for that third wild card and
Easily.
I
Third
think
division spot.
Boston takes that second wild card, and then in terms of the third, we'll have to see. Or sorry, the third. What the fuck? Sorry, I think Boston takes first wild card, and then
The second wild card, you're saying?
we'll
Yeah.
see what happens with Ottawa. I think I'm gonna be boring, and I think Ottawa does get it because I just don't
think
see
so
one of
too.
these. I don't see one of these Metro teams getting hot. And
I don't think I believe in any of them, man. Like I look at this race and I don't love any team in this race.
they're all just kind of mid, and unless we'll have to see how the trade deadline goes because that can alter teams, and maybe one of these wild card
Yep.
teams goes on like a 4-game winning streak around the deadline and think they're like the
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
they could. Honestly, I think I agree with you, Seb. I think Tampa has already virtually clinched the third division spot. I mean,
Yeah.
clinched in quotes, but like
They'll get
they
it,
have
I think.
5 games in hand on Boston. They're only 2 points.
That's what I'm
behind.
saying. Like
That's
they
their
have 5
spot.
games in hand on Boston. They're gonna take it, I think.
Yeah.
And I think Boston
Yeah.
takes.
How does that
first
happen,
wild
by the
card.
way? I was thinking this. Like, why do they have so many games at hand in comparison to everyone else?
Who knows?
No.
I think. Was there like flooding or something that happened in Tampa? I feel like.
Oh,
I feel
the
like I remember
hurricane,
there
right?
was,
Hurricane.
The
yeah,
hurricane,
there was a
That's why.
I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
postponed some
Yeah,
games.
you're right.
I
You're right.
think
That
they
was
were 2
it.
postponed, which would put them at 37.
Which even
now.
then
Yeah.
though, that was only like 2 or 3 games that they missed. They're fine.
Yeah, no, but Jacob's right. That would have put them at 37 or 38, and then you're like
True.
right around like 2 games. Is like
average
2 games, right?
league is games
Yeah.
played is 38 right now. So yeah, as for the second wild card, I think the obvious answer is Ottawa, but like. Oh my God! It's so wishy-washy that we're like
bad.
a good week and a good month, a bad
one-
month from
one of
any one
these-
of these teams away. from
One of these teams goes on
someone
a
else.
hot streak, they have that spot. Like literally,
Yeah.
one
Honestly,
team goes on this
yeah.
hot streak, they have it.
I'm not a big believer in them, but Pittsburgh might. Like maybe
They're
Crosby
right
just
there.
plays so well, and Jari maybe is a league average goalie. You get some scoring from Carlson, and maybe Raquel's been good this year. Rickard Raquel's been
Yeah.
good this year.
And you know
Montreal.
what? Maybe we get to see Pittsburgh versus Washington one more time in the playoffs.
Ooh,
Crosby
Dude,
versus
I would
Crosby.
love that.
That'd be cool.
I think Washington will like dummy them, but I would love that.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. It's gonna be Pittsburgh.
I think
I just want to
see
see
that.
Crosby versus Ovi then. That's all I want, dude.
One
think-
more time.
I think the one thing we're kind of underrating here is the fact that the Leafs are going to play the Boston Bruins again in the first round.
Yeah. It's already
I don't want to
happened.
think
Book
about
it.
it. I
They're
don't want
gonna
to
It's
be
think
like,
playing
about it.
Boston Bruins again in
Oh,
the
and we're
first
gonna
round.
lose in 7A, but we're gonna lose in Toronto this time to make it different. Make
We're
it
either
different.
Yeah.
dude, we're either gonna play Boston or we're gonna play Tampa.
Yeah,
It's
like
one of those two
honestly,
teams.
winning the division is
Yeah.
purely symbolic at this point. Like all it gets you is home
Home
ice
ice
advantage in
advantage
round
throughout
one.
most of the
Although,
time.
listen,
No, sorry.
if you win
round one and two.
if you win the conference, like that matters. Listen, I don't know how much
Conference
matters.
matters.
I think I hate to say it. Ottawa plays with their cup every single time they play against us, and I don't know how we do
Yeah.
in a playoff series against them. So, we'll see. But I do
The
want
one
to.
thing-
It's fine.
The
Go
one
ahead,
thing
Seb.
I want is just don't play Florida in the first round.
Yeah, yeah.
Stay-
I think we
There's
they
did.
no
could
way
take
that
first.
happens.
They could take.
We'd
first,
lose
I
to
don't
Florida.
care.
I think
just
we
don't
lose to
wanna play them
Florida.
in the first round.
They probably lose to Florida round two anyways.
I think so. So we're talking about playoffs. I have updated playoff standings. We did this a couple podcasts ago. It's been a bit. Just to start off, this is by points percentage. So if you go on your NHL app, this is at the time of recording, so it'll be different because there's games starting in like an hour or so. Two, points percentage is different. Points percentage just kind of like averages it out for all the games played and stuff like that. So like Tampa, it's a little bit more fair for teams like Tampa who haven't played as many games as everyone else to accumulate points. So, so first matchup we got Washington versus Ottawa. Jacob, you want to start off? What's your prediction there?
Washington in 4.
Okay, I got Washington in 6. Sub.
Go like Washington. I'll go 5. Let's go right in
Okay.
the middle.
All right, Toronto versus Tampa. I didn't believe in something. Okay, Toronto is going
4.
to win in 6. We're going to win in 6.
Leafs in
okay.
5.
Actually, in 6 would kind of be cool.
Yeah.
Like OT
No.
in Game 6 again. John Tavares
Yeah.
OT winner.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
No.
I would like them
No,
to
it's
win
not
at
good.
home though. Imagine
I don't
how
wanna-
hype it would be to get a series.
I don't want to
to
see more games in round 1 than I need to. If they could
All
win in
right.
3, I would like that.
Yeah.
All right, Florida versus
I've seen
Boston.
enough round 1 games.
I think this year they would match up against Tampa really well. But anyways,
Yeah.
I think they
Florida,
match up against a lot of teams well. I think just Florida scares me because I think Florida will always scare me, and Boston just to the demons there. I don't know if they'll be able to beat them, but Florida versus Boston. What do you think, Jacob?
Florida in 4. I think this might be Boston's hard exit of their long run of making the
Okay.
playoffs and being a good team. Florida sweeps them. Boston's stunned. Rebuild.
Okay. Seb, what do you
I'm
got?
gonna have to agree with Jacob here. I think Boston. Yeah, they fired Montgomery and they've got that little coach bump, but even that's starting to wear off a little
They're
bit.
5-4-1 in their last 10. Like they haven't been that hot.
It's starting to
They've
wear
been-
off.
yeah.
They don't have the scoring right now. Like Pasternak's been.
He's
not
been mid, dude.
Pasternak.
He has not been that
He
great.
hasn't been Pasternak.
Yeah.
He's been like
Lindholm's
just a
not their
point per
guy.
game
Mid is excessive. But like for
He's
pasta
not mid.
standards,
I
But
just-
I
I
meant for
never-
pasta standards. Like
I was never a fan of Boston signings in the first place because I never thought Lindholm moved the needle. He was never gonna be like he's kind of just the same mold as like the Zaka, Charlie Coyle from last year. Where he's just like a 50-point whatever. Like didn't move the needle for me.
Okay, well,
Zadorov
to be
didn't
to
move
be
the
to be
needle for me.
respectful to Elias Lindholm, when he was in Calgary, he did score 40 goals with
Yeah.
Gaudreau and Tkachuk.
Yeah, with Gaudreau and
Gaudreau
Tkachuk.
yeah,
But
that line was crazy. Weren't all
to-
three of them like
to counter-
Weren't they all close to like 100 point scorers? Weren't they all
think
like
they-
that
I
whole
think they
line
all
was
scored
pretty
close.
close? Yeah.
Marchand has not really like he's 30. He's like 37. He's not gonna be the same.
No,
guy
he's
was
playing up to
2 years
expectations,
back.
Marchand. Yeah.
They just haven't really been a great team. Like they haven't been a good
In
team.
my Atlantic predictions, I,
I
have them
think-
finishing second. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Seb. I didn't mean to cut you
Their
off. There.
goaltending's also been like
Disappointing.
atrocious.
Oh, good.
Swayman,
Yeah.
I think I predicted was going to be shit because
Yeah,
he
I
missed
mean,
I was
all of
praying.
training
I
camp.
didn't predict it, but I was hoping, man. I was on my hands and knees praying.
What do you expect? This guy missed all
Yeah.
of training camp, and now you're
Yeah.
just like, yep, you're the starter now. Like when
He's also never been a starter. Like he's always
yeah,
been a
he's never
tandem
been a
with
full-time
Walmart.
starter. He got
Yeah.
8. That was my issue with that was I think I said that on the
You did
podcast where he
say it.
signed.
I'm
I was
pretty
like,
sure you
dude, I get that he's been great in the 40 games a season he played, but you're paying this guy you're paying this guy like Connor Hellebuck, UC Saros money for like games played number that he's never reached. You don't.
If they
know.
didn't want him to be the starter, they shouldn't have traded
Linus
Linus Ullmark. B, sign him to starter money that he was asking for in the first place, and C, immediately make him the starter. This
I
was
The
just-
other thing
so
is
stupid.
the other thing about that, and we've touched on it because of how stupid it was. But why did you trade Allmark before you had that deal done? I would have signed
why?
Swayman, and like everyone in the league knew you were going to sign Swayman. Like it's not like you had added leverage against you if you signed Swayman.
No,
But
there was
like
no
sign
other
the deal so you know you had it locked in, and then trade Allmark because
Well,
like
if
said,
they
like you
sign-
said, he missed camp. Like you
And
didn't
I'm
have
also
to do that.
sure. I'm sure if they kept Allmark, that would have been better for them in the Swayman negotiation
Yeah,
because it's like,
you're probably
we don't
right.
need to sign you right now.
Yeah.
We don't need to give you the money that you want. We have Allmark.
The other
here.
thing
You
is
could
they didn't get a crazy package. So if they held on for longer, I think you could have still done Castellic and Corpusalo and a first, or was it a first? Did they do a first? I think they got a first,
I don't
right?
even think it was a first.
Maybe it was a
remember.
second round pick. I'm not quite sure.
I just want
yeah.
to say Justin Brazeau is the 5th leading scorer on the Boston Bruins right now with
Leaf
17
legend, by the way?
points. 17 points in 38 games.
Yeah.
He's their 5th
okay.
leading
that
scorer.
hurts. Anyways,
I'll take Florida in 6. I think Boston still gets 2.
okay,
I
we
think.
didn't even do these. Oh yeah, we did. We both.
Yeah, we
said
did. You
Florida
guys,
sweeps.
you went
That's right.
4.
Sorry.
You went 4.
Yeah.
I got 6. Okay. This one's gonna be a really good series if it happens, and I hope it does. But Carolina and New Jersey.
Yeah,
What-
that's
Jacob,
a
what do you
tough
got?
one. Yeah, that's gonna be
Tough.
a close
Yeah.
series. Those are both really good teams.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the Devils in 7.
Okay.
Carolina is unimpressive.
I want to be different from Jacob, but he keeps picking the same shit that I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
pick.
I got Carolina in 7.
I'm going to take New Jersey in 7. I think that series is
I-
going to be so tight, but I just
It's
think
gonna
New
be great.
Jersey has more star power at the end of the day, and that's
Yeah.
gonna
I
push
don't know
it through.
why, but and it might not be correct, but Markstrom still scares me. Like I'm nervous that you're gonna have a blow up Markstrom in the playoffs because we've seen it happen before where he's had a good year and then he was just awful.
Yeah, but then look at the Canes goaltending. Like, it's not like
no,
they're
I
in a
know, but
better
they
situation.
yeah, but they've never had great goaltending. Like I don't think they like
Yes.
who was their last unreal goalie, right? Like Kachekov had a good run
Cam
there
Ward
in the
in
playoffs.
2006.
Cam Ward, yeah. Like the other thing though is if Freddie comes back, then I'm flipping my prediction and it's New Jersey because I hate playoff Freddie. Freddie is not.
Freddie
a
also
playoff
just
goalie.
He's always been good with
Freddie's
the
also
Hurricanes,
just
though.
kind of been cooked.
Yeah, he has been.
Like, he's
I
been
mean,
having
I feel bad for him
blood
because he had the
clotting
blood clot thing. Yeah,
Yeah, he's been having blood clotting issues.
Yeah.
I just don't know if Freddie Anderson's gonna really. I don't think he's their
Yeah.
answer this season. I don't think he plays for them. They've been running Kokotov for 24 games, and then it's just been a bunch of guys, just literally a bunch of guys like
Spencer Martin.
Dustin Tokarski
Tokarski?
has been playing. Played
Karski
3
has
games
played,
for
man.
them.
He's played.
Yaniv,
That's a name.
Perez, Spencer
Dude,
Martin.
I was watching
I-
highlights. I was watching highlights and I saw Tokarski pop up on my screen and I got a jump scare. I was like,
See,
what?
I heard about Tokarski playing games. It just didn't register with me that he's with the Hurricanes, and that
Yeah.
kind of It's actually giving me some pause.
Martin
Anyway,
Nietzsche has
Western
been
Conference.
insane this year.
Yeah, Nietzsche's is
we haven't
crazy.
really talked
He
about
has,
that.
man.
Shane Gostisbehere, 27
Yeah.
points in 35 games.
Yeah, Nietzsche's has been unbelievable. I've been really surprised about that. Moving on to the Western Conference, because I think we got a wrap soon here. We're coming up on an hour and a half. But
Yeah.
Vegas versus Dallas, first round matchup.
I'm taking Vegas in 6. I'm relatively unimpressed with Dallas this year. I think I took Seb's pick again, judging by the look on
Yeah,
his face.
yeah. I think you
not
took
the-
my
not-
pick too, man.
Yeah.
You want to just go
for
Vegas and sits around the horn? Yeah.
Yeah.
Vegas
All
is
right.
sick.
Yeah, listen, I think Vegas looks like the cup team that they were when they won the cup when they beat Florida. I think they look
look so
unbelievable right
good.
now.
And
It's
Dallas
crazy.
has looked so mid.
Yeah, they've like
Their
been really up and
stars-
down, man.
Their stars are just
Yeah.
bad this year. They're not good.
Who's their
Jason
leading scorer?
Robertson-
Do you know?
Oh my god.
Marchman
I don't know.
might be up there, man. I think
Could
Marchman
not
and
even
Duchesne might
tell
be up
you.
there.
I think Duchesne was the leading scorer last
Let me
time I checked.
hold on. Yeah.
Duchesne
yeah,
has been good this year.
It's been Duchesne.
35 and 37 games for
Robertson's actually picked it up a little bit. He has 30
Yeah.
points in 37. He's picked it up a lot, but
Wyatt Johnston's having a good year. Jamie Benn's having a good year.
It's just Vegas are so good, man. That team is unbelievable.
Dude, Sagan has 20 points in 19 games.
injured
Does he
now.
actually?
I think he's out for the year.
Oh, you're right. He is.
He's,
He had
like,
like a
out
4 to
for-
6 month injury. Yeah,
He's like done.
How do
it
they
was a
not
hip
know about
injury, I think. I saw the
Yikes.
statement from the Stars.
Yeah, but
Next
no,
series we got-
Vegas. Sorry, yeah, Vegas. I
Yeah.
think takes that series though.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
that? Yeah, they're good.
Next. Really weird to me right now.
Vancouver's good in the playoffs, and playoff Hellebuck. We have to
Yeah.
keep this in mind.
Yeah.
It's really tough for me because Winnipeg always does this where they're great in the regular season and the playoff. I think Hellebuyck just over and Miller. Like I don't know if it'll work itself out. And the other thing is, are you going to have Demko? Because
I don't even
that's a huge thing for me.
I don't even know if
'Cause-
Vancouver keeps a playoff spot, to be honest.
It's gonna be tough. I don't know if I believe in Calgary. That's my problem, man.
You know what? Fuck it. I like the Jets. Jets in 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is the year they change it, but seven.
I'm gonna go with Winnipeg in 7. Obviously, these we don't do these every week, but we'll do them like every 2 or 3 pods, so it'll change. Just like, but I'm saying right now, I don't like what's going on in Vancouver. I'm nervous. I don't know what's going on, but that's
I'd
kind of
say if
weird.
they get that figured out, it's like right now I'm like 60-40 in my head towards Vancouver. If they get
Yeah.
the Pedersen Miller thing figured out, I think those odds for me go up a lot. But changed anything to like believe
Yeah.
that it's going to be different.
That's fair.
It's true. It's true.
That's fair. I
It's
think the
not
thing
like
that changes
solid-
it for me this year is that Scheifele's been a lot better. Neil Pionk has had some like crazy year in comparison to his expectations.
Just the assistant last
Assistant,
year.
yeah.
It's
I don't
not
know how
like
much
he's a
changes.
different mentality or anything.
Yeah.
It's just the assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Next series, this would be great. Minnesota versus Colorado. That's so tough, man.
I gotta go
am
Minnesota.
You
How
got
many games?
Minnesota?
I'm going Minnesota in 6.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
I'm going Colorado in 7.
I have
Minnesota,
no Colorado Avalanche.
dude, Minnesota has that Leafs in the Western Conference thing where they can't get out of the first round, and
Yes, but even the
And-
Leafs got out of the first round against
Eventually.
a former Stanley Cup winner in 6
I think
games.
I believe in Nathan McKinnon and I believe in Kel McCarr and they're gonna beat Minnesota.
You know who
in
I
7.
believe in? Kirill
Kirill
Kaprizov.
Kaprizov.
IR soft. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You know who I no. You know who I believe in? You know who I believe in? Jacob
What?
fucking Middleton. Bitch.
Plus minus leader in the
Yeah.
NHL. Put some respect
Yes.
on his name.
Give me
Very-
Jacob
very
Middleton.
The stat that
important.
everyone cares about. Plus minus.
Give
Jacob
me
Middleton.
Jacob Middleton over Kale Midcar.
Jacob, but his Middleton is literally in his name, man. Like,
Yeah, you're right.
You can't,
Jacob
Anyways.
Middleton then. God damn.
Jacob Middleton, that's a former
Marco
future
Rossi's
Leaf.
also been like good as
He
shit.
has been good. He has been good.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Shit.
I really like Minnesota this year. I don't know. And
They've been
Colorado, I have not liked this year.
They're ass.
Although they
We'll
figured
see.
out their goaltending.
Yeah.
I think Blackwood's been good. We didn't even talk about the Blackwood extension. Oh my god.
Oh, that was one of the goalie corner stuff. Oh, and the trades, the Georgiev trade, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
There
we
was so
didn't
much to
even
get
talk
to.
about
Next
them.
week. Next week.
Like this is gonna be
We'll talk about it.
There's gonna be like an hour and a half episode, and we missed stuff. Like it's just we didn't do anything. We didn't do one for a while, so it's just naturally gonna be like this. But last matchup we have one that we've seen forever, but the difference is this time LA has home ice. It's gonna be LA versus Edmonton.
Oilers
Oh my
in
God.
4 this time.
Oh,
Like each year they shrink the series by 1 game.
yeah.
I got Edmonton in 5.
You suck.
Yeah, I'm also gonna take the Oilers. Just because I've been saying the same thing as Seb this whole show. Why not Oilers in 4? I have no opinion on this. The Oilers are gonna win. Honestly, does the series even happen? Who knows? Who cares?
Probably not.
It's gonna happen, I think, and I think it's gonna.
Oh, you
be
know
the
what?
exact
Maybe you're
same
right,
thing It's
yeah.
been for the past, 5 years.
Yeah.
Vegas has a sizable lead. No one from the Pacific is really creeping
Yeah.
up. Calgary.
If
I
I'm a
feel bad for
Kings
Calgary.
fan, I'd literally kill myself. Like that is
Yeah,
just
like,
the
what do you do?
worst. That
That's
is
just
the
like being the
worst.
Leafs.
Are they kind of the Leafs? Like we always,
It's
like,
worse. It's
Yeah,
worse.
it is
We've
worse,
played
yeah.
Boston a lot, but there's like years in between. We've only played them back to back years once.
Yeah.
They've played
Yeah.
the same team for 4
Yeah, but we also
years
played
straight.
Tampa
They've won
back to back
5.
years. We've
Yeah,
We played Tampa
the Leafs.
back-to-back years.
Yeah,
Like,
they've
but,
also
you know,
only played
back-to-backs
Boston.
Not terrible.
With Austin Matthews on the team, they've also only played Boston 3 times in the playoffs. I know it feels like so much more than that, but it was only 3 times.
You know,
Dude.
they've played. The difference is that this is it 3 or 4 times they've played?
Well, 2013 is 4 times, but Matthews.
No, no,
isn't
no.
on
I
the
mean,
team.
I mean, L.A. Edmonton.
Oh, this
I
will
think
be
it's
the
3 times, right? Yeah, this would be the 4th time, but in a row.
Yeah,
4 times in a
Yeah.
row.
In
is
round one.
Crazy. In round one, yeah. It's.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for LA fans.
maybe the
It's
Kings
got to
take
be
one.
like demons.
they've been
The
a
thing
better
is
team
that
than
those
the Oilers
games,
this year.
those games are always like kind of tight, but the Oilers win every single one of them. Like I feel like the series are always tight, and then I go back and look at it, I'm like, oh, like the Oilers kind of just like dummy dump. Like
Yeah.
like 5 games, like
Rod Brindamore, it was a close sweep.
Yeah, I also
that
just don't.
yeah, that would drive me nuts. By the way, like Keith said, there's a lot of respect in the handshake line, and I wanted to shoot myself, but it was a close sweep. Like if Keith. If Keith said something like that against Florida, where it's like, oh yeah, it wasn't a 5-game loss, I think I would have jumped off my roof. Like I like why? Like why would you say that? Why do you say that? There's no how you lost in 4. That's like when the Oilers fans
God.
were like, oh my god, that sweep against Winnipeg was not really a sweep, and I'm like, it was a sweep. You lost 4 in a row. Like I don't care
sweep.
how many
A sweep's
overtime
a sweep.
games. Yeah. Like it is what it is.
Well, that's all that we had. I did
Yeah.
have a game. If you guys want to
Yes.
play,
Let's run it.
okay. So I'm stealing this directly from Jesse Blake, by the way. I hope we're not
SDPN.
too similar to the SDP at this point. But anyways, this is point per game. Basically, you guys are just gonna go back and forth, and you're gonna have to name a player that has been at point per game so far this season
Okay.
in the NHL.
All right,
And this, there's no games played minimum. This could be a player who has played 1 game and has 1 point.
Yegor Korshkov. I start.
Excuse me, you
Um,
idiot.
Okay,
I don't
give
care.
me give me a sec here. I'm gonna keep score because after one of you goes out, the other has to keep going.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just give me
Alright.
2 seconds here to write this down. But yeah, I guess Matteo's starting with Igor Korshkov.
Wait. Okay. Wait. It's
I hope
this
you
season,
understand.
no?
It's
Yeah,
this
it's this
season
season,
only.
it's this
Okay.
season, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I hope you
Imagine
understand.
16,
I'm gonna double check
17.
that. It's this season, not career.
It is
already-
this season. I
Yeah,
remember.
already making me Google stuff. Igor Korshkov has he played a game this year?
I think
Not
he's
this
in
year.
Russia.
No, I was talking about, dude. I was talking about when he scored 2, or like didn't he score like 2 goals for us?
He has 1
in the
goal
2
in 1
games.
game.
Yeah,
for the
1
Leafs
goal
in
in 1 game against
1920.
Buffalo. Against Buffalo,
that
I
was a
remember.
joke.
Yeah. Okay. So am I starting?
Sure.
Connor McDavid.
Yep.
Nathan
Yep.
McKinnon.
Conor McDavid is 54 and 35. Nathan McKinnon, yep.
Leon Draisaitl.
Yep.
Nikita Kucherov.
Yepers.
Kaprizov.
Yep.
Jack Eichel.
Good one.
Marner.
50 points. Mitch Marner is point per game, 51 points. He's having a good year.
William
seen that.
Nylander.
William Nylander, I also know for a fact it's point per game, but I'm going to double check. Yep, 43 points in 39 games.
Brady Tkachuk.
Brady Tkachuk, 37 points in 38 games.
Oh no!
You're out after 4.
No!
You're out. Seb,
Oh, I thought
care
it was
to
a
continue?
lock.
I
No.
have to carry the torch.
Yep.
Marty Nietzsche.
Marty Nietzsche, definitely.
Shit.
Let me just find him. Yep, Marty Nietzsche.
I can't believe that, man.
You suck.
I hate the Ottawa Senators. I hate the Ottawa Senators. I hate that man-child Brady Tkachuk. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
This is
You
like
won crash
Alexei Marchenko level crash out here.
Oh my god. No, I'm still in. Alexei Marchenko. He has 40 points and like something like
Artemi Panarin has 39 points in 36 games.
How is Panarin a point per game, but the Chuck is not? What is happening in
Tkachuk
Ottawa?
fucking sucks.
What is happening in Ottawa?
Tim Stützle.
Tim Stützle has 40 points in 38 games.
Why would you pick?
Sedge is a hockey DB demon, bro. Oh, what do you mean? Why did I pick Tkachuk? He was 1 point off. It's not like it's not like he was 10 points off, man.
Matteo, there are so many other players you could pick.
I know. I don't
There's
know
like,
why. I was looking at the standings, and Ottawa was right in my face, and I was like, all right, Tkachuk.
Mikko Rantanen.
Mikko Rantanen, surely he's point per game. Yep, by quite a bit.
Okay. Cale Makar.
Cale Makar. Yep.
Okay.
I was gonna go with Makar over Tkachuk, and I'm like, no, let's go for a forward.
Yeah, you fucking should have.
Fuck.
Who to pick? Oh, Mark Stone.
Mark Stone, yep, you got it.
He's on
You're
Hockey
10.
DB right now.
No, I'm not. On Moms. Look.
Stop the count.
No.
Stop the count. Stop the count.
Look. I'm literally taking a picture of this right now. Look, this is my setup. Right now.
Yeah, I just don't
honestly.
care that much. Just name the next player, man.
John Tavares.
Is John Tavares point per game? I don't know that he is.
Please.
I'm going off the NHL page for this. I gotta Google John Tavares. Why did it open a new window? What the fuck? John Tavares so far this season has 38 points
39 games.
in 38 games played. You're in.
No!
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's wrap. I hope you guys liked the pod. Thank you for listening this week.
No.
Enough. I've had enough. Brady Tkachuk, the
Matteo?
least favorite player in the NHL.
Mateo, here's one player you could have said
Braden
instead
Point.
of Brady
Braden
Tkachuk.
Point.
Okay, Seb, can you let me fucking finish? I was gonna roast Mateo.
Tyler Seguin. I had it written down here because I heard the stat, and I was like, I'm holding this
Braden Point's
for when we
good.
go deep. When
Braden
I
Point's
said
good.
when we go deep, I'm using Tyler Seguin because he has 20 and 19, and I couldn't believe it when Jacob said it.
Here's one player that you missed that you could have said, Mateo. Declan Carlisle for the Tampa Bay Lightning has 1 goal in 1 game.
Oh man,
Mark
I
Edward
have his
Vlasic
jersey,
has
and
1
I can't believe
assist
I
in
missed
1
that one.
game. Yeah.
Oh, Jack Hughes.
Jack Hughes, yeah, that's probably fine.
Jesper Bratt.
Jesper Bratt, yeah. Jonathan Drouin has 8 points in 7 games. Yeah. Anyways, this is enough of this already. I don't want to do this anymore. This is long.
Yeah, I'm done. Hope you guys enjoyed. I cannot stand Brady Tkachuk. Least favorite player in the NHL.
Oh
He
my
does
God.
nothing. He just gets mad when the game's over. That's why you haven't made the playoffs.
Do you remember when Brady Tkachuk got mad when the Devils shot the puck at the empty net after the win?
I
Right.
do remember that, yes. They have a
Sens
history
fans
of
were
doing that.
Euro and Sens fans on their pedestal. They're like, oh my god, that's such terrible hockey. And then Brady Tkachuk did it like a season later, half season later.
Yeah.
Do you remember when
Yeah.
Brady Tkachuk
Yeah.
was born and looked like he was made in a lab?
Why are we shitting on Brady Tkachuk, bro?
Because how do you not have a point per game? Who else scores? Stutzla's snatcher chain. Are you kidding me?
We
What
talked
happened? You're the
we talked
captain,
in the
man.
episode about how mid the Senators are, and you're asking who scores then?
Yeah, because on San Jose, somebody scores. Somebody
Wait,
does.
yeah, is
Chicago,
Mikael Granlund
somebody
a point per
scores.
game? I'm actually curious.
Let's end this here.
Nobody's ever asked that. No one's ever asked that ever. Is Mikael Granlund a point per game? I'm actually curious. No one's ever
35
asked
and
that.
39.
I'm not- I
35
already
and 39.
I already closed all my tabs, man. Let's
35 and 39.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Seb needs to go outside and spend less time in Hockey DB. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for listening.
Point per game on the Sharks.
Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Have a good rest of your week. We'll see you next week. Bye.